Facebook blocked me. They blocked me because they said I was harassing and bullying. My comment was about abortion. All I said is that abortion is you, the Democrats don't want women to have to go through pregnancy. They want them to have to get it. They want them to get an abortion instead because they don't want to. Because forced pregnancy is a forced medical procedure. Is what they said. My comment was that Democrats are hypocrites because they want to force the vaccine by vaccine mandates. Now, my question to you, was that really why they blocked me? No. They blocked me because, as you can see, the media is not, the mainstream media like CNN, what I typically post, is not reporting that CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, all the local networks, all your local networks, they're not reporting about how these planes are held hostage by the Taliban in Afghanistan. New York Times did report it, but after like hours after other networks reported it. Now, I ask you, why aren't they reporting it? Because they know Biden's going downhill because of his evacuation debacle that killed 13 service members and Afghan civilians. Okay? Now, I ask you this. So why do you think they blocked me? Because they knew, Facebook knew I was going to post the story that I found about now that Richard Blumenthal, one of the top Democrats on the Armed Services Committee, Senate Armed Services Committee, is frustrated and furious over Biden for not providing safe outlets for those planes. Because Biden administration is saying the Taliban isn't holding them hostage, it's just they haven't gave the green light. So if that's the reason, why don't they just give the green light? But you didn't see that on CNN again. You didn't see that in New York Times. You didn't see that in AP, Royals. You didn't see that in the local networks. You didn't see that. But I can't post that story. I can't post that story because for 7 days I got blocked by Facebook. And everybody knows, anybody can think if they look at it. That comment wasn't the reason I was blocked, because they knew I was going to post it. They knew I was going to go on a CNN page and post that. They knew it. Facebook, and they knew that I was going to influence people not to support Biden. He's already downhill, and it was only going to get worse because they knew I would do that. And they know I'm educated. I am. I'm very educated. I got a master's degree in business. I got a bachelor's degree in communications with an emphasis in journalism. So I know my sources, news sources. I know my research, how to do research from reputable sources and organizations. Now, I can't. And, I was going to post, not a right wing, I was going to post Fox News, I was going to post, Washington Examiner. No, I was going to post The Hill. Hill is like kind of neutral setting, source. But the thing is, I can't do that. They know what I'm doing. Well, they know I'm capable of influencing people. Even people I don't even know. Because I've talked to professors all around from Harvard to Princeton. I've talked to all these people to dispute what they said in news articles. And they responded to me. Yes, professors of Harvard and Princeton have talked to me. These elite people. I talked to several reporters from the Washington Post that have responded to me. I talked to the fact checkers. I've talked to several hundreds of people that are considered the professionals, the ones that are knowledgeable, and I disputed them. And many of them did say I had some points on my dispute because I sourced what I said. I sourced what I said. And that's probably why they responded, because I sourced what I said. That's the thing. I'm getting blocked by Facebook because Facebook is the only way besides Twitter. Well, Twitter doesn't really have that much standing as Facebook. Facebook's the only way to get your message out. And listen, but when you're an influential conservative, you get blocked. When you're an influential conservative, you get blocked. Now, people are saying Trump got blocked because he incited the riot. Trump has not been indicted for inciting a riot. And a report out from Reuters shows that they're not really even looking at him for being inciting. Like, because to incite a riot, and Just Security, I went on the Just Security website, and that's a liberal-leaning, what do you call it, national security website, liberal-leaning. And they even said that the D.C. Attorney General, who is looking for assignment, doesn't really think he has a case against Trump, too. And they said the DOJ is really not looking at Trump either. Now, the reason why is because of intent. I mean, just saying fight like hell, well, you know what? Democrats have said that. We saw at the impeachment hearing, Democrats telling their supporters to fight like hell. Even some of them threatened Donald Trump personally. Like, I'm going to punch you in the face. I mean, you know, Maxine Waters, for one, said harass, attack, you know, stuff like that. You know, here's the thing is, all public figures still have free speech. Okay? And claiming election fraud, well, we've seen that in 2016. Hillary Clinton and her allies, they claimed fraud. They claimed Trump stole the election. They objected, even including Representative Benny Thompson, who heads the select committee that is investigating the Capitol riot. Now, let's, you know, and then they got them, Republicans for objecting, but, you know, they did it themselves in 2016. And, you know, there was riots in 2016 because Trump won. You know, they won a Capitol riot. But in Washington, D.C., they had riots because Trump won. And Democrats were telling their supporters at the time, fight like hell, go harass, do all this, you know. So when are we going to arrest Hillary Clinton? Because Hillary Clinton was one of those people that did that. When are we going to arrest all those Democrats in Congress? Because we don't do that, because Democrats have always gotten away with things. Democratic officials have always gotten away with everything because the general public is okay with Democrats doing whatever they want. I mean, we know there's majority Democrats in the United States. That's why the Democrats want the national popular vote. And because if they had a national popular vote, they know Democrat will win all the time because majority people in this nation are Democrats. So at least majority of this nation are independent leaning Democrats plus Democrats. You know? So it adds up that they would win all the time if it was a national popular vote. Now, back to this issue. So Facebook really blocked Trump because he was influential. Not because they thought he was going to start another riot. No, he's influential and getting people to go and vote for him. That is the reason why they really blocked him. And that's the reason they blocked me, because I am very influential for people not to support Biden. And that is who they're going to block. They're not going to block a typical conservative that says some insult or comes on and doesn't source his information. Or he sources it to a conservative source, which Democrats just typically dismiss. Yeah. I don't source mine to conservative sources. Because, I know the Democrats and independents are going to dismiss it immediately. So, yeah, I got blocked. But I'm going to put this on here. What is Biden doing? Even Democrat officials now, Democratic congressmen, all turning against him, senators, House left. But the public's not. Because, the independents are typically, it says the polls are showing it. But CNN thinks, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, all these places that are protecting Biden think if they don't report it, and then they know Facebook, and these news sources know I'm getting blocked, okay? Because Facebook blocks me. They don't report it, then people don't know. People don't know because people aren't going to go to the conservative sources. They probably won't go to Hill even though the Hill is neutral. But they're looking for the New York Times to report this. They're looking for the Washington Post, ABC News, CBS News, NBC News. They're looking for all these national networks that report all these national newspapers, including the local news, who takes it from what the national news tells them, not report it. They're looking at the local news to report it, but it's not being reported. And that sad thing is Biden's going to get away with what happened in Afghanistan eventually. And these people being held hostage. Or as the administration said, the Taliban's not holding hostages. They haven't gave the green light, The administration's at fault. But this is not being reported, and it's unfair, because if this was Trump, it would have been reported right there and then. You can't protect Biden. You can't kiss his bottom all the time, media. You can't. You need to step up and start reporting this. I am telling you from this, stop doing it. Report it. This stuff is going on. Do your job as a journalist. A journalist ain't supposed to pick sides. Especially one that wants to be considered mainstream. If you want to be considered mainstream, you can't pick a side. If you want to be considered conservative, sure. If you want to be considered liberal, but the funny thing is, the Daily Beast reported this. The Daily Beast is extremely liberal. Why did they report this? I don't know. Because they tried to be a little bit, objective. That's the word. I used to be a former journalist, and this is sickening that the media is intending, because they don't want Trump to win again, they're not going to report this. And now Facebook is sickening because they blocked me, who found the story at a neutral source and was going to post it, but I can't because they blocked me. And they lied and said I was bullying on Lassie. That is not a bullying comment of what I said about abortion and vaccination. Now, the Oversight Board, $2.4 million pointed out, came from Facebook itself, or somewhere on that. So, let's see how objective this is. And they haven't took my thing. And now I have videos, people insulted me, and I have the Facebook violation list where I reported violations, and it was always within community guidelines. And it was typically people insulting me, calling me names, nasty names, and it was within community guidelines. So Facebook needs to step up and stop blocking influential conservatives. The media needs to step up and start reporting it, so I don't have to post about it. I'm not a journalist anymore, but I've got to get the truth out, because these people, the American people, deserve to know. Especially when Democrats are saying publicly that they're frustrated and furious with Biden and his administration. They're saying publicly, but it's not getting reported. Why? Especially Richard Blumenthal, big Democrat. He might be establishment Democrat, but, progressives already had trouble with Biden because he wasn't progressive enough. But now the establishment is turning against him. Look, typically you need to report this, and Facebook needs to quit blocking influential conservatives. And don't lie and say it's because it's harassment and bullying, when you know that comment was not harassment, it was not bullying. But, this video is not going to be seen by many people because I don't have a big YouTube following. I don't do stupid stuff to get a big YouTube following. But I hope people do see this. Because the truth is, Biden messed up on evacuation. It wasn't his withdrawal. Majority of Republicans, Democrats, and Independents wanted the withdrawal. Whether it was Trump or Biden, they wanted it to be evacuation. Evacuation to be more steady, more planned. I mean, not the last week of July when you start evacuating, when you announce it in April. We needed people to be organized. But it wasn't. And that's what caused the 13 servicemen to die. That's what caused the Afghan civilians to die. It was all because of the fact that it was a botched evacuation. And now we are still, Americans still being held by the Taliban from not leaving the airport. Thank you.